I guess you find a motivator or a purpose in everything that you do. And it seems like you allow yourself to stay busy doing the right things with the right people.
The Ten Commandments Wealth went live on Easter Sunday. Join thousands of other people that made a commitment to a brighter future, to more prosperity, to brighter ways and better days. If you want to see the rest of this interview with this champion and many others, do yourself a favor. Click that link. I'll see you inside the Ten Commandments Wealth. It's right over there. Click that link. Bunny, what should you do? Click the link right there. Do it now.
Today I have the pleasure to sit with Henry Cejudo. Henry is a very unique character in UFC history. That Henry is the only person that's had the 125 and 135 pound belt at the same time. There's only 4 people that hold 2 belts at the same time, yeah? Is you and Connor and DC and Amanda. I believe that's true. And on top of that, got a gold medal in the Olympics. So I hear some people out there that are famous for calling themselves the double champ or whatnot, and you very humbly refer to yourself as the triple champ or triple C, yeah? So that's really an amazing accomplishment to get an Olympic gold in wrestling, and then go on to past wrestling and develop display the mixed martial arts skill set that you had to do what you've done. It's pretty damn impressive.
Well, thank you, Derek. Thank you for the introduction. I think what we're talking about down the hall, it's like it all goes back to our upbringing. How is it that we were raised? And I'm a son of immigrants. My parents came to this country. My mom now. My dad passed away a year prior to the Olympics. But I think it's when people talk about that immigrant mentality, it's I'm such a patriot American too. On top of all that, I'm Mexican descent, but I guess it's that mentality that was engraved in me that my mom was able to kind of repay that stuff forward for me. So even though my mom, worked in odd jobs, or blue collar jobs, you say, from, anywhere from, cleaning houses to, to factory work and things of that nature. Like she always sold that American dream to us as a family. Grew up poor, grew up in. I never had a bed to myself until the age of 17, and that's when I moved out to Olympian Training Center. So I lived in rundown apartments the majority of my life. I lived in freaking places that look like crack houses. I mean, I'm one of 7 kids raised by a single mother, and I was a kid that grew up on welfare. I was a kid that I was a street kid, but yet I came from a great humble family. Like, mom was super religious, So I think I want to credit a lot of that stuff. So when we talk about a lot of that stuff too, it's like I want to credit a lot of what was given to me and what was also what I didn't have, but it's also somewhat what motivated me. So there's at one point, I think Conor McGregor, that's when he was trying to be Mr. Nice Guy. He had posted. When he won his double belts, he had posted it. He said, this is double champ day. Congratulations to all the double champs. And he kind of tagged me. And I'm like, no, man, I ain't no champ. I says, I'm the triple C. Champ just another Monday to me. And anyways, I ended up getting a whole bunch of retweets. So even this, Derek, like even part of my character, it's to build a storyline, because I know there's a lot of money to be made. It's like we were talking about Kobe Covington earlier. Like Kobe Covington was a guy that was getting ready to get cut. To now, every time Kobe Covington died, he doesn't have a crazy following, but people will buy to tune in for his pay-per-views. So that's more of what happened in my situation of me becoming a character and doing that, because I want to have. I grew up watching WWF. Mr. T. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man. Ultimate Warrior, Bret the Hitman Hart, like these dudes, like it was fun because they gave a storyline where you can relate to someone. Like, oh, I want to be the cool guy. You know what? Today I want to be the bad guy. But now what I'm doing here, for the UFC, it's different because I'm fucking fighting for real. Like, this isn't like there's no going back. So when I go in there and I fight, and right before the face-offs, I have pillows of all the guys that I fought. And I'm kicking them on stage or whipping a snake down. These are things that I'm kind of pulling out, Derek, to build my brand, to really become the heel. I'm actually kind of coming out of character now, but it's almost like, there's there's a method to my madness. I know where I want to get to.
I hear you. I'll reflect back on some of the childhood things. I too grew up on welfare, and I really hated it. It was one of the best motivators in my life that my mother wasn't the most stable person, and she wasn't like a drug addict or alcoholic, but she wasn't a reliable, stable person. She had a lot of anger issues and some other little demons in her head that it wasn't the best household to live in. And I was there alone with her. I was the only child, so it was just me and a single mom who has a hard time taking care of herself. And I realized pretty early that age 10 or so, that, well, I guess I'm in charge of the house, that she's not really in charge of the house, so I guess I am. So, I had a thought in my head pretty early in life about personal responsibility, that if you want to have fantastic outcomes, nobody's going to put you on or come give you some shit. That the number one person responsible for your success is you.
Yeah. So what was it, Derek? What was it? What was it? Was there something that clicked with you? Like, obviously being that 10-year-old kid, and obviously you didn't live in that stable home. Do you remember that switch? I was like, hey, I'm gonna be different. I want to be different.
This sounds fucked up, and I don't mean it to be, but when you're like a little child, the people around me were mostly like Catholic Christian people,
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're a little child and you're in that environment, they tell you you're going to pray to God and say a prayer before bed or something, and things are going to get better. And I tried that for a little while, and nothing really changed in my perception. And then the other powerful character that they tell you about in childhood is Satan. And I'm like, well, would Satan help? Could I make a partner with Satan that would help my circumstances? Maybe my dad would come home. Maybe my mom wouldn't beat me so much for no goddamn reason. Yeah. Maybe things would be a little lighter and easier in life. But I realized very quickly, and I didn't spend much time thinking about this topic, by the way, but I realized quickly that, well, Satan's not going to help me either. And I thought, well, God's not helping, and Satan's not helping, and my dad's not here, and my mom's not capable. And pretty soon I had to look to myself and be like, well, what could I do to affect the situation? What could I do to make things a bit better, Yeah. And I've just been doing that for the rest of my life since then. So I don't mean to tell that as such a sad story. That I certainly didn't enjoy it at the time, but it really made my life fantastic as an adult. That it gave me the motivation to, accomplish my financial goals that I wanted to have a fantastic dating life, to have, I've been to 66 countries, I traveled all over the world, I met a lot of great people. None of that shit would have happened if I had like a normal childhood, So I'm not bitter about it, but I didn't like it at the time, but it gave me a lot of motivation to keep moving in life.
It's made you like who you are today. There's a pretty good book, man. It's a Christian book, actually. And I'm not here to preach either, man, 'cause I'm fucking far from Christian. But this book, it's called Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren, and he gives in chapter like 21 or 22, he gives an acrostics on how is it that him dissecting the Bible. How is it that God has formed and molded you? What I mean? Again, according to Christians, according to his faith, because you had just mentioned, growing up around that. But he talks about so the acronym is called SHAPE. It's SHAPE, and then he goes by like spiritual gifts. He starts off with that one. He's like the S is spiritual gifts, and somehow like God gives you a certain type of spiritual gift that you kind of you gotta somewhat tend to find, but that stuff is it's within you. And then he goes down to the next letter, which is heart. What is the heart? Your heart is what are you compassionate for? What is, where's your heart at? And then, so SHA, and then it's ability. Some people tend to just have like natural abilities, whether, like a LeBron James, somebody that just has a natural given ability, which typically you should be doing whatever it is that your natural ability is pretty much telling you. And then your P, and then it goes down to P, personality, and are you an introvert, are you an extrovert? So it's SHAPE, SHAPE. And then the most important letter out of all of them, and he talks about it, he's like, all these are cool, but the one that really matters right now, that really makes you, informs you as a person, are bad experiences. So he says you want to put a capital on that E, because it's really the adversities on how is it that we viewpoint life.
Your emotions, in my opinion, a productive person, your emotions shouldn't mean shit if it's not helping you accomplish your goals. You can sit around, there's a lot of young people out there, and especially young men right now, that they want to talk about their emotions. They don't get anything done. They don't actually do anything, but they want to talk about their emotions and their feelings. And I'm not saying that you should suppress your emotions or your feelings. I don't say that. I don't think that.
Yeah.
I don't do that to myself. I just feel like I have a responsibility that whatever emotion I might be experiencing, you know, is that helping me accomplish, is it getting me closer to my goals or farther away from my goals? And either way, if you wake up, there's plenty of days that you must have been training that you woke up and you don't feel like it. And you know, maybe you have some injury or something sore or something else happened in your life and you don't feel like it. But you still went to your training and did what you were supposed to do today.
Yeah.
And I just think that if you want to have high quality outcomes in life, anybody that's a top performer has to make those decisions that you might be feeling a certain way, but if your feelings aren't going to help you accomplish that goal, doesn't mean you have to suppress those feelings, but you have to go take care of your responsibilities despite, if you're in a good mood, you're going to go to the gym and do what you're supposed to do. If you're in a bad mood, you still got to show up and do what you're supposed to do. And I ran my business life that way. I ran everything that I really focused on in my life that way. In any area that I've done that, I had very good results. Good results. And there's this idea that a young person can sit around in their 20s and 30s and, you know, my feelings. Well, that's fine, but there's somebody else out there. While you're laying in bed thinking about your feelings, there's somebody else out there that, I haven't taken a day off in over 10 years. And I feel fine about that. I generally really enjoy what I do. Most days I really enjoy what I do. So you get up and do the thing. But on the days that I don't enjoy it, I'm like, well, I still have responsibilities to clients. I still have responsibilities to friends. I still have responsibilities to contractors and people that are close to me on my team that help me build things. And I'm not going to disappoint the team. I woke up with a little tummy ache. Am I going to disappoint the team? I'm not going to disappoint the team. I mean, I have guys that are multi-time world champion fighters that travel to come to me to come work out with me. You know, we're going to work out 8 hours, 9 hours, and out of 50 hours. I wake up and one time I was sick. I woke up, I puked again, and then I got right back to boxing training. You know, I'm not going to go tell a multi-time world champion, but hey, my tummy hurts today. Hey, let's take a day off. My tummy hurts. Yeah. What the hell is that? No doubt you had those type of days, and I just think that really changes the outcomes of a person. That I'm not telling you to suppress your feelings or anybody else. I don't suppress my feelings. I'm saying, oh, you know, I'm a little sick today. All right, then maybe I'll only be 80% of what I normally do, but I still got shit to do.
Yeah. No, I think, man, I understand what you're saying, because you're taking your experiences and. I guess you find a motivator or a purpose in everything that you do. And it seems like you allow yourself to stay busy doing the right things with the right people, right? Rather than complaining about your stomach or whatever that may be, right? Yeah, it's setting the bar, man. It's setting the bar. Even as a fighter too, like now, it's like you don't just want to win. Like once you get the taste of knocking somebody out, you kind of like you popped your cherry, man. Like you know exactly what you want to do and how it feels like to put somebody out. Study their demeanor. Study when is it that they want out. When is it you want to kind of put the pedal to the metal, put that pressure on them in order for you to kind of take them out. So yeah, man, I think it's important to always kind of continue to keep upscaling, because even now, Derek, like. Winning the Olympics, being a 2-division UFC champ, like I have no desire in fighting again, if it's not for a third bout, like you know what I mean. And I defended both my titles. I beat 3 Hall of Famers, man. Like my last 4 fights: Demetrius Johnson, T.J. Dillashaw, Marlon Moraes, Dominic Cruz. I mean, I beat 3 out of those 4 guys in my last fight. These are all future Hall of Famers, man. Yeah. And I was able to do it in fashion, knocking out Dominic in the second round and TJ in the first round. So what I'm trying to say, it's almost like for me, it's always about raising that bar and taking that bar where nobody could ever touch it, And I even go back to part of my persona too. It's like part of my persona is I am telling the truth. There's only one Olympic champ. There's one UFC champ. There's only one person that has done this stuff in combat sports. And I almost have to relate it to the world, because people will easily forget, And, to me now, it's like, especially now that I have a daughter, it just puts a lot of things into perspective for me, because it's no longer about me. You know, it's about another human being. I want to make sure that I'm able to raise her better than what I was raised, and not put her through that same, ruckus, sort of say. So
that fatherly part of my personality, I spend that time with my clients. And I mean that sincerely, that I do have that warm, caring, nurturing part of me. And I'm just honest enough with myself that I wasn't raised in an environment that I didn't have great parents, or I didn't feel like I was in a very nurturing environment. And I know I don't have that in my heart to do that for a child. I want to go travel. I want to go work on business. I think like that. And
do you enjoy traveling?
I love the freedom to go travel. I'm excited about business. I want to barely sleep and work on business projects, or work on a construction project, or look at stock market things, and I get very excited about that. I'm not saying it's healthy, I'm just saying that's what I do.
I was living on my coach's living room on a mattress. I ended up just bouncing at a bar. I'd been a cop, I quit my job. And
Derek Moneyberg presents 10 Commandments of Wealth.
Took the gamble on myself to become a successful professional fighter and make it to the UFC with pride. And at the time,
am I making a sacrifice right now, or am I just investing in a better future? So it's easier for me to make those decisions when I think about it as
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you mention it, having to actually really process and think about it, I think that word sacrifice is kind of I believe it's the word that the ones at the top kind of use to make everyone else feel better about it. Because when you're at the top, now you realize that was an investment.
Was everything just golden and easy and handed to you, or do you have a little struggle yourself along the way?
No. Yeah, in 2013 and 2015, I was living out of my car, full time, and I was too proud to ask for help. How ridiculous is that? You're living out of your car and you think you know it all. And 2015, that's when I kind of I knew that I didn't know it all. So why not find experts in that and really shortcut that? I thought I was going to just chip away. I thought I was just going to read books till I was an expert. I never really talked to anyone that actually did it.
It's been about a week since I've joined the 10 Commandments of Wealth program, and there's so many interviews that are offered in this program. I'm inside the Derek Moneyberg 10 Commandments of Wealth program. This is an awesome program that you're gonna love. I'm gonna use the principles and the knowledge from this program to help me boost my leads in my marketing firm. Buy this program, it's a wonderful investment for your future. You won't regret it, and you'll absolutely love it.